Let's calling to order the Public Affairs Committee for March 11th, 2026 at 7:49 p.m. We have reports from Property Maintenance, Parks and Rec, and Public Information. I think we have a lot to talk about property maintenance. So, any questions before we go? Well, before we start asking questions, let's hear from Alan. Mr. Brown, are you there? There he is.
Hey, good evening, commissioners and everyone. How are
Good
you
evening.
guys doing tonight?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. So I know you guys have seen my report. There's just a few things that I wanted to highlight. First, one of the things that I wanted to highlight is that if you notice that the township, the maintenance department has been without a staff member for the month of February. We are currently in the process of hiring for that position. Excuse my ring doorbell. My neighbors are just coming home. But we are in the process of hiring for that position. We are in the second round of candidates, and I have some time on Manager Elliott's calendar for next week for our third and final interview. And, fingers crossed, hopefully we'll have this on the agenda for the civil service in April. And then this will give us an extra pair of boots on the ground right in time for pool season. So the second thing I would like to highlight is the pipe burst at the Lamont Community Center. So some of you are aware that we've had a significant amount of water leak from the first floor down to the lower level. It was in the height of our cold spell, so all of the water that came through the ceiling froze in the lower level in one room. So myself and the maintenance department, Ron, pretty much, we cleared all of the ice, went and purchased some dehumidifiers and air moving machines so that we can dry the entire room. The second thing we did was we reached out to Revision. That's the company that's kind of doing the assisting us in our upgrades of the Lamont Community Center, just to make sure that the area that we demoed was a portion of the building that would receive an upgrade. Because, like I said, we demoed a substantial amount over there, a lot, just in the one room, all of the walls, portions of the ceiling. We took them out, and we just wanted to make sure that this was part of the building that was in the specs to be upgraded, which it is. So it's no additional cost. And actually, jokingly, they said we probably saved the township some money because it's one less space to be demoed. Second, after that, and also I just wanted to highlight, last time the township had a significant pipe burst in one of our facilities due to cold weather. The restoration cost came to like $76,000 for the restoration. And then we sent it to our solicitor. He was able to get it down to around $42,000. So all of this work was done in-house. So we saved a decent amount of money by doing it in-house. So thank you for the proper staff. Third thing is that with the snow removal, as you see, a lot of time was dedicated to the snow removal. Hopefully that's the last we see for some time. And then the fourth thing was the mechanical failure of the boiler at the Township Administration building. So this system failed because of a faulty part. Township maintenance, our maintenance department, we purchased a part, we replaced the part, and we were able to get the boiler back operational. But this came at some cost. The part was over $1,100. We also brought in a outside vendor to just inspect the unit and to make sure that everything was working properly. It's just a testament to our OpenGov asset management software, where we are able to track the total cost for each project, as well as Harley, stop. Kids are just running around, but we are able to track the cost of each individual task, as far as how much labor, how much resources we put into it. So this will give us a more insightful look as to the life expectancy of our equipment, as well as prepare us for capital budgeting, so that we know, hey, we're putting too much money into this piece of equipment. Maybe it's time to start saving in the near future. So I just wanted to kind of give a kudos also to that asset management. It is huge for our maintenance department as far as tracking. It's not all up here anymore. We also have something to kind of monitor it. So
All right. Thank you so much. I have one question before we go to the commissioners. I see you put down 126 hours on the boiler repairs. Is that all your time, or is that?
this is a combination between myself and our other half of our maintenance department, Ron. Between the two of us, that is the total labor that between myself and him.
Okay. Would it be, the cost if we were to call someone in to make a repair like that rather than you do it, would that have been more cost effective, do you think?
So I'm looking at the invoice from the vendor that came in and did the work for it. It looks like I came in at $4,720, and that was for a day's work. So, for our 116 labor hours, it would have cost a lot more than what we paid out so far. So, just looking at the total cost, I mean, I'm not sure. The total cost for the project is a little over $10,000. That's in outside vendor, as well as the parts and materials that we purchased and our labor costs for township staff. So that's where we are now. But I'm sure if a company would have come in to make the repairs and do the cleanup like we did, it would have cost us a substantial amount of a lot more money than what we paid out.
Okay. Commissioner Stein?
Mr. Brown, with respect, the way to save the township money is to not have a pipe burst in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
The Lamont Community Center has not had heat for 5 winters?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
It shouldn't be a surprise to us that the pipe should be drained. The water should be drained from the building, especially in stretches of weather that were the coldest in the last 15 and 20 years for December and January. So I'm wondering what is the plan for making sure that both Rowland and Lamont are drained so that this doesn't happen again? Because you're going to have construction. Hopefully by this time next year, Lamont will have heat during construction, but we don't expect Rowland to. So, what is the plan to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Because you don't just have your labor hours.
So, Commissioner,
you also have the cost of the water itself. So, there are costs involved here. It's not a positive.
So, Commissioner Stein, I apologize. I should have mentioned this. Both community centers are winterized every winter since we haven't had heat. This was due to a faulty water main valve, and it was noticed when we went through a revision. We're like, where's the water? Because what we do, so just a bit of insight into the process. We turn the water off to the entire facility, domestic drinking water. We turn it off. We take compressed air and we blow all of the lines. So it is a really intense process that we go through to ensure that we don't have this, because if this is the case, then we would have burst pipes every single season, every single winter, but this was due to a faulty piece of equipment. And this is another reason why we bought revision outs, to make sure that the pieces of equipment that fail are on their scope of work to be replaced during the upgrade that we hope starts really soon. So you are correct. We haven't had any heat over there for years. And since our first season of not having heat, we have been winterizing the building. But this is just due to a faulty piece of equipment. And when we looked at this piece of equipment, it's old, like a lot of other things in the facility. So yeah, I apologize. I should have started with that on why the leak happened. But yes.
Right. So I just want to make sure I understand. So after the air was blown through, the valve reopened and water went back into the building?
Yes, ma'am. It failed. Yes. The shut off valve failed, and when it failed, it allowed the pipes repressurized, and then during the cold snap, it froze. And we are periodically checking these facilities, right? Even though they're closed, they're not closed to us. So we do periodical checks through each one of the facilities, both community centers, and even the facilities that aren't being used, such as the shovel shop. It is on our schedule to make sure that we go through periodically to make sure everything is looking normal, how it was the last time we were there. So, Lamont is a building that we frequent because we're constantly doing demos over there, with the architects, with township staff. And so it is a building that we check frequently. So we were there maybe about a week prior. And in that time span is where all of this happened. Now, I've attached photos to the report just so you can see the extent of the damage and how much ice it really was. Photos really don't pay, how much it's not enough. It doesn't do it any justice on what actually happened. But yes, it is on our radar to constantly check these facilities, even though they're not open. And winterizing is something that is definitely a part of our schedule because of our situation we're in.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jeremy Walls.
Hi. I imagine that this question is not only for Mr. Brown, but also for Manager Elliott. I'd like to know if we could spend a minute on the roof for Elkins Park Library, where we are with that and what you need from us to move repairs forward on both that and Glenside. I know that the snow's melted now, so I'm hoping that we can get on with it.
So I could just give you an update on the Elkins Park Library roof. We've had several companies come and give to look at it, to give proposals on, or to look at it and give like insight on what they think we could possibly do. As far as a full roof replacement and also just something scale back a bit. So then that way, once the decision is made what to do, I want to be able to give you guys a scale of options so that you guys will be able to make the best decision possible. So we had another company come out the end of last week. They are going to send another section of their company to come and give us a full report on the roof. So they'll come in and do a full inspection of the roof, and they will pretty much give us a report card on the roof. And your flashing is a C, your membrane is a, or whatever, which will also include an internal inspection. So they will like drill a hole in the roof to look at the insulation, everything underneath of it, to tell us like, hey, we can do a patch, or we won't even attempt a patch because of your insulation. So they will give us a complete report card, which I think is great. And they're a CoStar's approved company, so we'll see how that goes. But so that is where we are. We're still just trying to figure out what we can do. In the meantime, the maintenance department has went up there. We've made sure that we've cleaned all of the drains. We've made sure that there's no standing water, and we're trying to do everything in the meantime to make sure that we have as much stormwater infiltration or snow melt as possible. So we're just
it's not just snow melt. I mean, we're getting ready, right? Like
of course
the spring rain is coming, and so I know that for those of you who are unaware, the roof's been leaking. They've been covering some of their books and computers, and time is of the essence. We don't know how long we're going to have this building. So I'm curious, Manager Elliott, what do you need from us? When do you need us to make a decision about what we're going to do as far as roof replacement, roof patch, Glenside? Where are we in that process?
Yeah, so we are, so I'm looking at it from a technical perspective. I know Alan's looking at it from kind of what the work needs to be done. And once I have an understanding of the scope of the work, we can make a decision on whether or not it needs to go to bid. So if it's under the bid threshold, we can move forward with 3 quotes. If it's not, we have also reached out to our attorney to understand whether or not we can use CoStars on this bill, both EP and Glenside. So we're just working through some of the technical aspects of it. And as soon as we have a direction from the contractors and from legal on how the best way to go forward, we will move forward with both of them.
That's great. Thank you both for paying attention to this. I bring it up because I know that a lot of members of the community are interested in as well, and I want to keep them updated on the process and show that there is movement. And we'll keep them posted as we move through this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Norris.
Thank you. Not a question, but just a comment. Mr. Brown, I'd like to thank you both for your report as well as for the substantial additional explanation that you've provided. Your efforts are with just one assistant and the challenges of maintaining all of our old and aging buildings. It's truly exceptional. So I want to give you and your department a big thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other commissioner have any other questions, comments? All right. Commissioner Sherman was okay. Just want to make sure you didn't have another question or comment. All right. I think we are going to, and with all due respect, Ms. Iser, I think I'm going to go through all three of these reports before we open it up to the public, and then we take a vote. So let's move on to our Parks and Rec Director and Parks and Rec report. Mr. Salvatore.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any questions on the report before I say a few words? Wonderful. So just a couple of highlights. Cheltenham 250 continued this past Sunday with 170 guests at Elkins Estate for Founders Day. Those commissioners that attended, thank you. Those members of the public that attended, thank you. Those staff members that attended, thank you. It was a wonderful afternoon, good music, good food, and good camaraderie. So we're really happy about that. That makes what I would say 3 for 3 between January, February, and March, successful events. The next one will be in April. The kickoff reception is Friday, April 3rd at Temple Judaean Museum with their art exhibit and a brief program of reading of historical documents. But that exhibit will be open through May. So we will make sure we post the schedule so folks can get over and do what they want to do as far as if they need a coin book, need all the above, they can get over there and check out the exhibit and pick up a little bit of swag on the way. The only other thing I would call your attention to is we did, somebody that's been around for a while, tell me, is this the earliest we announced the concert schedule? We solidified it over the last couple of weeks and it's there. We have a full slate, 12 dates between now and December when we do the closing concert for American 250. So take a look at it. The beer gardens are listed. The American 250 events are listed. The only thing not listed are what food trucks are going to be there because we're waiting for some friends groups to share what food truck they would like us to try and procure for them. So other than that, I think we're good.
Great. Yeah, kudos on a wonderful event on Sunday. It was just so much fun. Everyone was so thrilled to be inside and really enjoyed the opportunity to get inside Elkins Estate, but also to talk to each other. I think it was an excellent opportunity to build community and really celebrate part of our history. So nice job to you and Kelly and Sylvester and Josh for pulling that off and for being so responsive to the community as well by opening up childcare as well for those who came. So kudos to
I'm sorry, Commissioner, can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
So just because we're always mindful of it, between the ticket sales and our sponsorship so far, we've recouped $20,000 from that $50,000 we asked for Cheltenham 250. So one more ticket event to go and still hunting sponsorships. So hopefully we can keep digging into that number.
Awesome.
Great job.
Awesome. Any questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Brockington.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Bill, great event on Sunday. You've got a great staff. Question, someone asked me, are there any plans to do the Caribbean event like you did last year?
Yes, it's on the concert schedule.
Is that on the concerts?
Yes,
Okay, I didn't take a look yet. Okay.
I believe it's Friday,
September 11th.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
You got
I'll
it.
take a look at that schedule as soon as we're done.
Wonderful.
Commissioner Jeremy Walls.
This is
You're up
a
next.
question for you and Lauren. Curious when we're going to start promoting the concerts. I don't want to talk about them too soon. I might have given a little hint to a few in my neighborhood, but I think people are excited and I would love to promote it sooner rather than later.
They're in the package, so they're public record now, so we can
Post it
share
on
it as
the
much as we
website,
want.
post it on socials.
Yep, we'll get it out there.
Yeah, we will. It's made its way into the upcoming newsletter, which actually will segue into my report. But yes, we will get it out there and it's not a secret. So thanks, Bill, for your good work on getting that set.
And just one thing to add to that, and this is not a conversation for now, but something to keep in everybody's mind. We should start thinking about departmental social media for Parks and Rec so that these events can be posted separately and they don't get lost in road closures and trees are down and whatever else is going on that's, of immediate importance.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You have so much going on in that department every day. You have multiple activities. I agree that it seems to be, it seems to be makes sense to have to have your own social. What do we have to do to make that happen?
Well, we only have one PIO comms director, so we gotta work through some details there, but
Okay.
not to overwork Lauren, but we can talk about that offline. I just want to make sure I put it out into the universe.
The universe has accepted.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the Parks and Recreation Director and his report? Okay, guess not. Let's move on to the Public Information Office report. Ms. Walter, greetings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will add my 2 cents to Bill's last on the departmental social media. That's a topic that has come up under past Parks and Rec directors as well, at a time when we were not planned all through the year and we didn't have that consistency in Parks and Rec. So when Bill came in, we did discuss that we needed to get at least a year under our belt of that consistency, and it's been a really beautiful thing what he's done with the Parks and Rec team, and not only added the consistency but added some vibrance and all year planning. So I do agree that that is something that should be discussed now that it will be able to be they both kinds of networks can sustain their own algorithms on the social media because there is year-round content. As far as my report, public information has definitely been busy too. We have had the weather events and the 250 events to get content out about, and we've stepped it up a little bit, so doing some video content for social, which is a goal of mine, and it's been fun. Bill and I had some fun promoting the Founders Day, so we're grateful for all that, the good feedback there. And then I'm working on the spring newsletter, so we're going to try and get that in everyone's homes in early to mid-April. And I did work on getting ads for that just about covered the postage costs. So that is a really big win to be able to recoup that for the township. And with that, I am putting together a survey to seek resident feedback on how they engage with the township, how they get their township news, whether they are consuming that print newsletter or they're mostly engaged digitally. So we're going to put it out through the newsletter and through our digital channels everywhere that we can to get as much feedback as we can on how we can properly allocate township funds and staff time to really have the best impact public information wise. So those are my highlights. And then if anyone has any questions, I'm open to them.
Thank you so much. And you alluded to your social presence. Of course, as a former TV guy, I always loved that both you and Bill took the opportunity to put yourselves on camera to advertise the event. So good job. Hope to see your faces more often on Instagram and Facebook. Any questions from other commissioners about for Ms. Walter? All right. Nice job. Thank you so much. Any resident have any questions for public information, Parks and Rec, or property maintenance? Ms. Iser. If you unmute yourself, you have the floor. There you go. I can hear you breathe. Go for it.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, this is really a positive, and I want to thank Alan for winterizing all the restrooms along, the trail that everybody loves to walk. Now that the weather is getting nicer and everybody's antsy and walking, those need to get open. Do we have a date that we can reopen those so that people know?
So
It was a question on Facebook, like, why is that closed? And those restrooms are closed so the pipes don't burst and we don't have extra expenses, et cetera, et cetera. But now that the weather is getting better, do we have an approximate date where we can start opening the restrooms in the township along the and in the park?
So Rhonda, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Well, it's funny that you asked. I just had a conversation with our Bill Salvatore about this.
I know you do. I know you do. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you. So this is not a criticism, it's a question.
And I appreciate you as well. So what we're doing, we are in the process. It kind of, there's no like set date. We just kind of play it by ear. It's all weather dependent, right? When we see that there aren't any cold fronts coming, or we think that we're out of, the freezing pipe territory, we jump right on it. So I really would like to get a jump on it soon, because we'll be in pool season starting April 1. And then it's a huge undertaking, as you can see.
I know.
But we will try to jump on that as soon as possible. That is definitely on our radar. I know we have some cold temperatures coming up over the weekend, and we're still kind of wrapping up on this Lamont project again. But as soon as we have a moment, that's the first thing. That's next on the docket list, to get the parks back operational, the outdoor restrooms and the drinking fountains as well.
And Alan, just so you know, this wasn't a criticism. It was just really a question. And if you and we've had the longest cold blue I've known in like the 11 years I've been involved. So it's got to be a difficult task. So thank you for answering my question.
Not a problem.
Thanks, Ms. Iser. He has thick skin.
He knows me well. He knows me well.
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions of our three mighty department heads here? All right. I guess that's no. So I'm going to make a motion to accept the reports from Property Maintenance, Parks and Rec, and Public Information.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Next, the receipt of committee meeting minutes. We have three: the Historical Commission, the Economic Development Task Force, as well as the Library Board, which is going to be new. We're going to start getting the Library Board minutes in our public affairs. Anyone with any questions? Any commissioner with any questions about or comments about any of those reports? The public? Anyone with any questions or comments? All right, I make a motion to accept the receipt of the Historical Commission, EDTF, and the Library Board.
Thank you, Commissioner Cherico. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All right, moving on to old business. There's nothing listed here. Does anyone have any old business they want to bring up? Good, because we got new business. Let's move on to new business, and we are excited to introduce Nicole Beckett of Lafayette College's Meyner Center for the Study of State and Local Government and the Township Manager. And she will be speaking about the Township Manager recruitment process. Ms. Beckett is one of, I guess, part of the organization that we hired to manage this Township Manager search. She came highly recommended. She has a history here with Cheltenham Township, or at least the Meyner Center does. And we're really excited to begin working with her to find a new Township Manager. Good evening, Ms. Beckett.
Good evening. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the invite, along with the Faith in the Center for moving forward with this. I'm excited to get this going for you. So I know, just to touch base, I'll give a quick presentation and an overview of what exactly our process is, who we are, how we'll help, and what we're looking at doing. So the Meyner Center for the Study of State and Local Government is on the campus of Lafayette College in Easton. We are a nonpartisan, nonprofit center who is supported in higher education. We're led by Professor John Kincaid, who is renowned in the study of federalism. And we were established in 1994. We started providing the program services and trainings that we do today in about 2006. And since then, we've been in over 200 municipalities in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. We study, we bring academic resources, we have research capacity, extensive experience, and the professional network that comes with every engagement that we have. And just to explain how that works, we have Professor John Kincaid leading us, but we have 2 practitioners on staff who are both former municipal managers. Myself, being one, I've been with the center since 2022. I started working in local government in 2001 in data entry, and I began my first management job as a borough manager in 2010 in a full service public power community. So that's always very helpful because we understand what it's like to be a manager. We understand what it's like to speak the language of, the staff and the operations that go on, and it's very helpful to the process. Since I've been with the Meyner Center in 2022, I've been in less than 4 years in about 50 plus municipalities, varying in size, complexity, and situation. And we do also have previous experience with Cheltenham itself. So my predecessor had worked with the township. I think it was in I don't have the year written down here, but maybe 2012 search or something. I think it was 2011 or 2012. So, why does this matter to the public? Why does this matter to the commissioners? Why does it matter to the team? Well, it matters very much so. As you know, the manager is a significant part of the community. The responsibilities of the manager really touch everything that involves all the services that you rely on. And really it is the person who is helping move forward or stall things that need to be stalled. And they're the person responsible for the now and the future of the township. And I think it's really important to mention that for us at the center, this is not about filling a position. It's about helping your community find the right fit for your community now into the future. And I'll say, I always talk about the fact that I feel like I'm a local government nerd, and it's true. I study local government. I love local government. And in Pennsylvania, there's 2,500 municipalities. All of them are different. And Cheltenham had caught my attention early on in my position with the center. So, I think it's important to mention that I'm excited to have this opportunity to work with you. As far as the process goes, we're here to facilitate, we educate, we use our resources, we'll assess, and we also serve as that main point of contact. We'll cast the wide net. We have the international outreach through ICMA, which is the International City Managers Association, along with their affiliate organizations. And we have a strong professional network here in Pennsylvania. As a former manager, we stay very much in tune with the managers that are, in the Commonwealth. We get to know your community. We get to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your challenges, your opportunities. We talk to the team. We provide those details to the candidates in the process so that they know what they're walking into and to make sure that that's what they want to walk into. We really focus on finding the right fit. You don't want a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't work. So we know the importance of that. In addition to that, we'll structure fair, multi-round structured interviews designed specifically for your community and your needs. And then we also help facilitate a background investigation that is conducted through somebody experienced in these public sector investigations. So that's really, a broad overview of what we do. It's important, I think, also to add, our interest does not end when the search closes. We're always here as a resource. We're very proud of the work that we do, and we're here to help. So I did not open this up by talking about our mission, and I think I'll end it with that because it's one of those important things to just stand out. So the mission of the center, again, nonpartisan and nonprofit, our mission is to educate students on the importance of state and local government and to encourage their participation. And then also our second mission is to help local government be more effective and efficient. And when I say that proudly because that's our sole purpose, right, is to help. And it separates us from most. So I just like to point that out. I'm open to answering any questions. And again, I'm excited to work with your community.
Thank you so much. Do any of the commissioners have any questions? I know you asked some. Oh, There we do. Commissioner Harriman.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, more of a comment than a question. I just want to thank Ms. Beckett and the Meyner Center. It's just this is such an important process for this township and the future of our township. And your comments and your enthusiasm for this work really comes through. And I'm just really excited to work with you and take advantage of your expertise and your networks to make sure that we are getting the best candidates in here for us to review, for the public to meet, and have a successful process that results in a leader that will take us into the next several years. So I just want to thank you so much. I mentioned this in the last meeting, but I'll do it again since I have the opportunity. There will be an opportunity for the public to weigh in on the process. I know some folks at both organizations and individuals have reached out with questions and comments and suggestions, and I think that that's really encouraging because it is such an important endeavor, and there will be public forum for that to continue to happen, both in terms of a public meeting as well as a special public meeting, as well as technological email mailboxes and other fora for folks to provide feedback, give us their thoughts on what are important attributes for our next township manager and what we should be really considering as we make this critically important decision. So thanks to my colleagues on the board who really leaned in this process. Thanks to Ms. Beckett and Allison Elliott, and the public who's really going to help guide us through the process. So thanks, everybody.
If I just may add just to that, and I really appreciate those comments. Just from the experience that we've had, I think that we have a very consistent process, right? But there's the ability to have creativity within each of those. So, I do know of some tools and stuff that we can utilize that can help with that creativity. I'll just add, because I think it is important for the public to hear and understand, there's 2,500 municipalities in Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of municipalities that aren't under this form of government that don't have managers, but there are also a lot of communities who do have managers, and in turn it creates a very competitive environment. So there's only so many managers, there's supply and demand. And I just really like to put that out there because sometimes that's not understood as the skill set and experience that's required for a municipal manager and how they're all very different.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Commissioner Stein, you're next on my screen.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Can you just give us, for our benefit and for the public's, just a little bit more detail on what happens between now and the interviews?
Absolutely.
Some of what goes on in the background to, develop the job listing, just in general, along those lines, between now and the interviews.
Sure. So we'll start off with a logistics meeting, which is a meeting with those that'll be participating in the process and really input from all, where we're establishing the schedule, where we're establishing what you're seeking in your manager, the background, the education. And then from there, we will begin advertising the position with ICMA, if that's the route you want to go, with the Pennsylvania Municipal League and beyond, along with our network. In that time period of the advertising period, which is about 21 to 30 days, depending on how far we go out, then I really begin to get to know the community itself. I plan on doing a site visit and coming down and meeting the team and getting to see, your infrastructure, getting to know the township in whole. And I start talking about the recruitment process and the fact that you're seeking another manager, which I've already begun doing, right? As once we were brought on, I started talking to those managers out there in the world, to just mention it and how excited I am for it. From there, we will we'll have an application and review meeting. So for that period of the 30 days, I'm accepting applications, communicating with the applicants. We have the whole schedule set, so we know what that looks like as far as timing goes. And then we'll go through an application review meeting, select candidates, and then from there begin the interview process, which I see for Cheltenham probably 3 different rounds. I'm also talking to your staff and key staff members to get to know the inside perspective as far as challenges and opportunities, strengths and weaknesses, and I'll also be talking to all of the commissioners and anybody else that you would identify as an important stakeholder in the process. And that creates the ability to really design the process well. So that's point A to point B.
All right. Thank you so much. Any other questions, Commissioner Stein? Commissioner Lewis. You're muted, Commissioner Lewis.
My apologies. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Ms. Beckett. And this is my question or comment may not be just for you, it may be for the commissioners as well. So you were just asked what was the process and basically timeline for selecting a township manager. Is there a document that, or can we create a document that lists the timeline, the process, the scope of the job, the requirements? What are we looking for? How big is the net that you're casting for candidates, including diversity? So I know we want to put a survey up on the website, but I would also like to do that in conjunction with this document that I'm talking about so that people will have something to react to.
We are more than happy to help any of the communities we work with create those public announcements and the public education component. So yes, absolutely, we'll be able to do something like that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other commissioners have any questions, comments? All right, let's move on to anyone from the community. Olga, you're up first.
Hi, I'm Olga McHugh. I live in Wyncote. A couple things. You said you wanted to get to know the community, and you said a little bit about this. You're going to site visit, see the infrastructure, and there's going to be a team. I'm hoping you're going to be speaking to some residents also. A lot of people that work for our township do not live in our community, so you won't really get a feel for the community itself. That's important to me, that whoever wants to become or we hire as a manager wants to get to know the community and wants to live here and wants to be part of the community. Just being hired doesn't make you part of the community. The other thing is you talk about you have a consistent process. I can understand that, but I also want you to take into consideration that we are an older suburb dating back to the 1600s. We have a lot of history. We're not like Lebanon or Collegeville or some of the western counties. We're a little different because of the history. The way our housing is different. We don't have a lot of housing developments that all look the same. We're very diverse in many ways. And so I hope you're going to allow for that in your process. That's it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Anyone else from the community have any questions or comments of Ms. Beckett? All right. I think that's great. Ms. Beckett, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. And we look forward to working together in the coming months.
Sure. Thank you so much and have a good evening. And I appreciate again the invite.
Absolutely. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Next is 4B, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners authorize advertisement and consider adoption of an ordinance replacing Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Article 7, Advisory Boards and Commissions, Section 5 to 49N, Wyncote Board of Historical Architectural Review, with a new section 5-49F entitled Human Relations Commission, replacing Section 913 reserved in its entirety with a new Section 913 entitled Human Relations Commission, and deleting Chapter 26. Human Relations Commission in its entirety, and there is an attachment. Manager Elliott.
Yes, hi. That was a mouthful, wasn't it? Yeah, so I prepared a quick PowerPoint presentation. Let's see if I can share so I can help kind of decipher what all that means. Okay. All right. So I just want to talk about this combines both B and C as part of the presentation. It is looking at kind of amending our citizen committee ordinances to allow for some changes that, let me just go to our purpose page. There we go. We look at our ordinances from time to time to kind of refresh and revise them to meet modern needs. As we've been looking at our citizens committees, there was a need to refresh and revise the Human Relations Commission to meet new regulations at the state and federal level. And as we were looking at it, we looked at some of our other citizen committees as well to see how we can clean them up. And we've been doing some cleanup work in the past couple of months or so as well. So this is kind of the next phase in that. One thing we want to make sure with this process is to make sure that we are providing meaningful opportunities for our residents to participate in local governments, and also to provide good quality input to our Board of Commissioners and staff in their decision-making processes. It's really important to be able to get input from our residents based on their experiences and their professional experiences as well. So as residents of the community. So some of the things we're looking at for these ordinances are ensuring that the Human Relations Commission operates under the modern requirements. As I mentioned, there have been some changes, and I'll go through some of those as we go through this presentation. Cleaning up inconsistencies in our code. This is something that most municipalities have, things that they find over time as you keep revising your codes. You have different people over the years doing that. Some things get missed, and when you're trying to do interpretation and review of the code, some things just don't make sense. So those are some things that we want to make sure that we were cleaning that up. And then taking a look at some of our citizen committees and combining certain duties and responsibilities in the citizen committees where there's synergies that exist, things that are kind of work well together so that we can better manage the time of our staff, our board, and really most importantly, our residents, to make sure that they feel like they're valued and they're really contributing their time when they come out to meetings once a month and other activities that they help the township with. We want to be able to provide greater clarity and purpose to the committees to encourage that engagement, improve the ability of our staff and board to provide focused and meaningful support to those committees. And then also there's a number of committees that have very exceedingly large memberships. So we want to be able to right size them so that we can make sure that we're able to fill those committees with members and make sure that they're operating smoothly. So as Commissioner Cherico mentioned, there were a lot of sections that were listed. And here's just kind of a summary of all the changes and sections of the code that we're looking at amending through these two ordinances. They are Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Chapter 9, Advisory Boards and Commissions. These two chapters I found as I've been working with them are pretty parallel in some respects. They just say a lot of the same things, but slightly differently. So we want to make sure that they are consistent as we go through this process. As we're looking at our advisory boards and commissions, we've been looking at some changes to our Industrial Development Authority, Historical Commission, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Commission, Civil Rights Task Force, Twinning Committee, and just some general issues related to managing and governing our citizen advisory committees, in addition to human relations commissions and task force. Now, one thing you will find, chapter 26 and 62, we are deleting those chapters and just merging them up into chapter 5 and 9 because they're basically saying the same thing. Okay. In looking at some of the changes that we made to the Human Relations Commission, in addition to taking it from chapter 26 and moving it into chapter 5, we've updated definitions for things like discrimination and discriminatory acts, gender identity and gender expression, public accommodation and sexual orientation. We looked at committee membership, again, trying to make sure that this is an efficient membership and making sure that we can keep members engaged in the committee. So we've established a committee of 4 members with up to 3 alternates. And the reason why it's an even number and a small number is interesting. And most of the time when we look at committees, we're looking at committees that are of an odd number so that they can be tiebreakers. And the way this committee is set up, and we've looked at a number of other communities when we were revising this ordinance to make sure that we were consistent with how other human relation commissions would operate. And they were set up so that they would have 3 members who were reviewing a case that was submitted to the Human Relations Commission. And then one of the members, the 4th member, would be kind of the person who would oversee that applicant and work with the applicants to submit their case and make sure that their paperwork is correct. So they would kind of sit out on the actual vote and hearing, but they would, so that person that put their application and complaint in would feel that they, would have somebody that would help walk them through that process. And then 3 alternates would be there to serve in case there's somebody who couldn't make a vote. And there's some other, some other things that were added to the Human Relations Commission that these 3 alternates could also participate in, maybe not as a voting member, but they could also participate in the work of the Human Relations Commission as well. And then we cleaned up some of the procedures for filing complaints and for mediation of complaints, just to make it more efficient and easier to kind of read through. It's a pretty lengthy ordinance as it is, and it was even longer, but hopefully this is a better process. And then there's also provisions that if the complaint isn't resolved through mediation through the Township's Human Relations Commission, that allows for applicants and complainants to pursue their options through the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act. And there's a Pennsylvania commission that they can follow through with as well. And also through Montgomery County, there is a Human Relations Commission through the county as well. So there are some other additional opportunities added to the Human Relations Commission. Some of them include providing analysis and guidance on matters relating to citizen rights, ensuring compliance with our applicable laws and established standards, assisting in education initiatives, and whether it's through print and online issues, going to events, and also participating in special studies relating to citizens' rights in the community. So there's some additional activities added to the duties and responsibilities of the Human Relations Commission as part of this revised ordinance. Moving on to some of the other committees that had some revisions made. Looking at our Industrial Development Authority, basically the changes were just to codify some of the requirements that are outlined in the bylaws for the IDA, but aren't actually clarified in the code. So we had a recent meeting, we were trying to figure out how many members are there actually supposed to be on an IDA. So we had to go look up the bylaws. It's so much easier to be able to look it up in our township code, which is much more accessible. And this information should be in here. So it's basically information about the IDA and how it should operate. Nothing's really changing from what is established in those bylaws. The Historical Commission, some of the revisions include reducing the number of members. This is one of our committees that has an extraordinarily large membership listed in the code, and it allows for between 15 and 35 members. I've been here for 12 years. I don't know that it's ever had really more than 15 members. So we're just reducing that membership to something a little bit more manageable. One of the concerns is just making sure that there's the ability to maintain quorum of membership so that it can take actions and be a functioning committee. The other thing that this revision allows for is incorporating the mission of the Twinning Committee into the duties of the Historical Commission. So we do have an established Twinning Committee that has relationships with sister Cheltenham cities across the globe, most particularly in England. So this would, instead of having be a separate committee and making sure that we have to have citizens with membership, it's one that has a small membership. This will allow it to continue the mission through our historical commission. The Economic Development Task Force, again, this is a cleanup item, really. It is taking it from Chapter 62 and incorporating it into Chapter 9, but there's been some revisions, again, reducing the membership from 15 down to between 5 and 9 members, which is generally where that membership tends to be over the last few years that I've been here. Reduces some of the qualifications for members. The existing ordinance pulls from a variety of different pools from like the school district and the various universities that have been very difficult to be able to have membership on. So this reduces the membership, but keeps that membership related to people who live in the township and operate businesses within the township that are residents. And then provide some additional duties and powers for the Economic Development Task Force that kind of align. They're very similar to what was outlined in the Human Relations Commission, but providing greater guidance for the EDTF, and so that they have more things that they can pull from as they're looking for opportunities. Through all this, there are a number of citizen committees that are recommending to be repealed as part of this process. As mentioned, the Civil Rights Task Force would be merged into the Human Relations Commission, and some of those powers and duties were outlined toward the end of my slides. Twinning Committee would be merged into the Historical Commission, and Substance Abuse and Mental Health Committee would be repealed as well. This is a committee that has struggled to have membership, and there's the communities, Cheltenham Communities That Care, that has been taking on a number of the items that they had worked on. So we felt that this was a pretty good nexus. One of the things that was noted as we were going through our review process, that this is not something new that has not been done in the past. Cheltenham has periodically developed committees that have met a need for the community, but also repealed them when they start kind of not meeting the current and modern needs of the township. And here's just a list of a number of those committees and when they were repealed. And then finally, we've made some amendments to the Citizens Advisory Committee. A lot of it is kind of more of a structure, but some of the things that we did add were defining the term Citizens Advisory Committee, which is all the committees that we talked about tonight. Providing guidance on the start and expiration of a committee member's term of office, which is following it's the first meeting of January of the Board of Commissioners when they're appointed, and ends at the end of the year. And then how providing guidance on how they can express interest in serving on a committee, the identifying a process for removing committee members, and a process for filling vacancies. So that is all I have tonight on this presentation. I know it's probably one of the more exciting presentations you've had tonight talking about code revisions, but I can open it up for questions. I think, Jeff, you're on mute.
You've left us In silence. You've stunned us. Nice. All
I was
right.
a little worried.
Commissioner Lewis, go for it.
My apologies. Thank you, Allison. That's pretty comprehensive. Good stuff. How are we going to share this to our residents beyond today? Will we put this on the website, give them an opportunity to weigh in, and for that matter, even ask questions or provide additional input?
Sure, absolutely. We can post this presentation online. We can ask Ms. Walter to prepare a press release that explains this. And there's also, if this does move forward from this committee to the board, it's a recommendation to authorize advertisement. So then there would be a period for comment, and we would take comments through that process. And then we could bring it back to a public affairs committee prior to adoption to hear any citizen comment on the revisions before it goes back to the board for adoption.
Yeah, just for everyone's benefit, this would be an ordinance change, so it requires advertisement. It requires discussion tonight, approval at the board meeting, advertisement. Allison, is it 30 or 60 days?
We can make it as long as you would like it to be.
What's the standard for this type of ordinance?
Yeah, generally for this ordinance, it's generally between 7 and 10 days before a meeting for public advertisement. So it's roughly about 30 days.
Okay, so we'll have it advertised for at least 30 days, maybe a little longer, and then it'll come back before the Public Affairs Committee for approval of the ordinance, and then ultimately before the board again for recommendation of the ordinance, and then before the board for approval of the ordinance. So there's at least 3 more opportunities for folks to weigh in, both on the board and in the public.
One last question. Is there any reason this should be delayed for the new township manager, or should we just move forward?
I think we should move forward. I think this is long and coming, I think. So I feel comfortable with what we're doing. Mostly what we're doing is cleaning up ordinances. I mean, we're not making drastic changes to our codes or anything else. Like, we're just doing some cleanup work and eliminating some things that aren't functioning properly. So
thank you.
All right, I'm going to make a motion to consider to recommend the authorization to advertise 4B. I'm not going to read that again. I guess I have to probably read 4C since I didn't read it the first time. So I'll also make. Do them individually?
Yeah, let's do them individually if we can.
All right, a motion for 4B.
All those in favor of considering recommending the Board of Commissioners authorize the advertisement of the adoption of the ordinance so described, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have to read it.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so I'm also going to make a motion to consider recommending the Board of Commissioners authorize advertisement and consider adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Article 7, Advisory Board and Commissioners, sections, I don't know, is that subsection? I don't even know what that means. 5-49, Boards and Commissions enumerated. Chapter 5, Administration of Government, Article 8, Administration of Government, 5-56, Industrial Development Authority. Chapter 9, Advisory Boards and Commissions, 9-5 and 6, 7, 12, 14, 15, and 16, to facilitate amendments regarding the Historical Commission, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Committee, Economic Development Task Force, Civil Rights Task Force, Twinning Committee, and the operation and membership of Citizens Advisory Committees, and deleting Chapter 62, Task Forces in its entirety. And there, again, is the attachment. Any comments from commissioners? Any comments or questions from the public? All right, then I make a motion.
We already asked for comments and questions. So all those in favor of Commissioner Cherico's motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.
All right. Next, recommend the Board of Commissioners authorize KCBA and Revision to begin the design and community outreach efforts for the Rowland Community Center renovation project for a fixed fee of $28,850. Manager Elliott, do you want to take this one?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have been very fortunate. We continue to submit grants, not only for the Lamont Community Center, which I believe we're up to about $5.2 million, but we started a similar process just about a year or so behind for the Rowland Community Center. And to date, we have $1.5 million and continue to supply grant applications. And I want to thank Commissioner Jeremy Walls for reaching out about the community project funding. We probably would not have known we received that extra $500,000. So that's really exciting. But we're excited to get started on this process, and we're looking to pursue a very similar design planning process as we followed for the Lamont Community Center for the Rowland Community Center, using the same design team. I think it's been very successful with KCBA and Revision Architecture. So with your support, we would like to move forward starting this summer, to start doing the behind the scenes work and then start doing our public meetings.
That is crazy exciting. I didn't think that we would even be at this point so soon. So I thought we were talking, 10 years out on Rowland, right? Like I thought we were gonna have to get done Lamont and then start. But this is amazing that we have that kind of money sitting and ready to do this renovation project. Any questions from commissioners? Comments? Oh, Commissioner Jeremy Walls.
Sorry, I'm slow on the raising my hand. Just also a huge credit to Allison because we put in another application for a federal grant. It was incredibly well written and she turned it around really quickly. It was an absolute honor to just be part of the process. Very exciting. So stay tuned. That could be even more money.
More money. That's good.
Amazing. Great job.
Great. Good job.
Thank you. Commissioner Stein.
I just wanted to say it sounds like we were looking to sort of mirror the process that was used at Lamont. And I went through all those meetings and it was really a great process. I mean, there was lots of public feedback taken over a course of, I think, 3 separate meetings over a series of months. Workshopping sessions with residents. It was really great on how people wanted to see the building used. And then to see those comments come into fruition with the current design for Lamont, it's been great. So if we can repeat that at Rowland, that would be terrific.
Agreed. Yeah, they do a really good job. I thought Revision and Drew and the whole team do a really good job of engaging the community. And I think that's really has been so rewarding to see that come to fruition, or hopefully come to fruition soon. Commissioner Arman.
Yeah, just real quick, just to give it a sort of this project a larger perspective. When we started reviewing our facilities a couple years ago and put together a plan to start to address them, it was a very exciting and expensive plan, but it's taking us a little longer than we had hoped, right? But at the same time, hopefully the work that's already been done at Lamont and continues to be done at Lamont, the work now that we're looking to take on at Rowland does demonstrate to staff and the public that this is and remains a very, very important effort on the board's behalf and on Manager Elliott and staff's behalf. And we continue to lean into this and make it a priority. And when we're able to get the money, we're going to put it to good use. And again, make sure that we're being responsive to the community. So kudos all around, and stay tuned for more and more exciting news as we continue.
Wonderful. Thank you. Commissioner Brockington, the
I'm not
Ward
going to drag this
Commissioner.
out.
I was going to say, you need to speak about this.
Yeah, I'm not going to drag this out. But on behalf of every resident in the village, I say thank you. That's all I can say is thank you.
I wish I could say you're welcome, but I have nothing to do with that. So. All right. So let's vote.
You will shortly after this vote, right?
Exactly. Should we recommend the Board of Commissioners authorize KCBA to begin the design and community outreach efforts on the Rowland Community Center? We didn't ask the community if they wanted
right.
to come.
Right.
Anyone from the community have any comments or questions? Guess that's a no.
All right. So we'll take the motion as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Let's go to E. Consider recommending the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution declaring the township's intention to follow the schedules and procedures for disposition of records as set forth in the Pennsylvania Municipal Records Act of 1968 and the Municipal Records Manual approved December 16, 2008, last revised March 28, 2019. Guess we're going back to Manager Elliott.
Yes. This is an annual resolution that we do. Per the Municipal Records Management Act, we are required to notify the public of all of the documents that we destroy. There is a schedule that's listed based on the type of document and a schedule of years. Some documents you can keep for a year, some documents up to 7, and some permanent. So this helps us manage all the files that we have in the township building and allows us to create space. It also assists with right to know requests. So if somebody requests a document, we are able to refer back to this resolution to say, if we cannot produce it, we can say that it was destroyed according to our municipal records resolution. So yeah.
All right. Any questions or comments about this compelling topic? All right. Public, any questions? All right, then I make a motion to recommend. I'll make a motion. Go for
it. Without giving weight to any particular agenda item.
Sorry about that.
All in favor of Commissioner Cherico's motion to adopt the resolution declaring the schedules for retention of records, say aye.
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 Very important. I should not have downplayed that. My apologies. All right. Finally, on our list, consider recommending the Board of Commissioners issue a proclamation recommitting to the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge to support habitat for the monarch butterfly and pollinators and promote the importance of monarchs as indicative of broader environmental health.
Better not downplay this one.
What was that?
Better not downplay this one.
No, I'm not going to. The most important one on the list so far. Ms. Walter, I'll let you say a few words, right?
Yes. This will be the township's 5th year taking the Monarch's Pledge, and it's very timely that the board is also looking at the adoption of the comprehensive plan update. So that had been presented, obviously, at the Building and Zoning meeting this same month, and is taking public comment as right now. So I am working with Julia Detweiler in zoning and with Chloe Moore at the county, as well as with the EAC, on recommendations for language to strengthen the support for pollinators within the comprehensive plan, because that is an item towards the pledge to be able to point to that plan as we're looking to our future, our goals, our grants, whatever does come up, to make sure that we're explicitly supporting monarchs and pollinators in that plan.
Commissioners, any questions? Anyone from the community? All right, Ms. Walter, thank you so much. And I will make a motion to consider recommending that we issue a proclamation recommitting to our Mayor's Monarch Pledge.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Yeah.
All right. Finally, any announcements, commissioners? Any announcements? Staff? Any announcements? Commissioner Araman.
Just real quick, we have an exciting couple of days coming up in our community. Starting tomorrow night at the high school is the High School Musical, which is Chicago, and it is playing tomorrow evening, Friday evening, and Saturday evening. Get your tickets; they're going fast.
And is one of your daughters starring in it?
I believe she may be, but not starring, but she's in it. So I'll be there.
All 3 nights?
All 3 nights, as always.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Commissioner Jeremy Walls.
Hi. I will be honored to represent the township tomorrow at the Elkins Park Library for a check presentation courtesy of Senator Art Haywood in the amount of $100,000 to benefit our library system.
All right. Great news there.
Good.
All right. Any other announcements? All right. Let's wrap this up. Let's move to Citizens Forum. All right. Anyone? All right. Let's move on to adjournment. I make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Hi.